أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very special program here today with our guest Fatima Khoja all the way from the UK. To begin today's program, inshallah, I'll ask Hamza to recite a surah from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بتقواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah khairan, Hamza. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. By the sun in its morning brightness, and by the moon as it follows it. By the day as it displays the sun's glory, and by the night as it conceals it. By the sky and how He built it, and by the earth and how He spread it. By the soul and how He formed it, and inspired it to know piety. The one who purifies his soul succeeds, and the one who corrupts it fails. In the arrogant cruelty, the people called their messenger a liar, when the most wicked of them rose against him. But the messenger of God said to them, "Leave God's camel to drink." But they called him a liar, and they hamstrung her. Their Lord destroyed them for their crimes and leveled him. But he did not hesitate to punish. Sadaqallahu al-Ali al-Azim. Thank you, Hamza. You can go. Okay, so again, welcome everyone for joining us today, and we are very very excited to have a really fantastic program for you. Before we introduce our guest speaker, I want to ask Sister Shakila Walji, the chair lady of Masumin Islamic Center, to join us and share a few words.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to have Fatima and Sakina, both of them with us, very young, bright ladies who are doing what they can to help the larger community in their mindfulness and their closeness to Allah, and to help others, as Sakina is also, as you're aware, is taking care of the founder of Smile Canada. So I just want to thank you, and I'm glad I could be part of this and was able to have these ladies join us to have our interview with Fatima, who has written the Ramadan journal. That's all I have to say, Sakina. You can take it away from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie. Like Sister Shakila said, my name is Sakina Dada. I am the founder and executive director of a registered Canadian charity called Smile Canada Support Services. And this is an organization that supports racialized children and youth with disabilities and their families. And, one of the things that we, constantly are doing at Smile Canada is spreading awareness about the need for inclusion, inclusive practices, inclusive activities, and the need to look at every single person, every child, every adult, and look at their potential. Because sometimes as a society, we think we know who has potential and who does not. We think we know, who is good and who is not. But as we know, our religion teaches us that only Allah knows. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of us. And He created all of us in His beauty and in His glory. And it is up to us to get to know one another. and to learn from one another and to join together in unity. And this is a very exciting program. Ramadan is right around the corner. It's just a week away. So I know you have not come to hear me today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. So our guest today is a young woman by the name of Fatima Koja. She's from Birmingham in the United Kingdom. And Fatima, as a young person, you have a very, very impressive bio. Fatima is an animator, she's a designer, she's a film developer. She has made animations for Ahlul Bayt TV. She has worked and she continues to work with Sheikh Nuru on a number of projects, and many of us here in Toronto know Sheikh Nuru quite well. Fatima has been a dedicated AV media team volunteer for the Birmingham Jamaat since the late 2019, and she has filmed annual interfaith events at Birmingham Mosque. In her spare time, Fatima enjoys drawing, painting, calligraphy, and photography. And today we are going to hear from Fatima, and we're also going to hear about this wonderful initiative, which is the Ramadan Journal. So without further ado, I'm going to start by asking you, Fatima, if you could tell us a bit about yourself. And we have several viewers here. What would you like them to know about you?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much for inviting me over here. I have lived in Birmingham all my life and with my parents, and I had two sisters, Shazia and Sumaya. Unfortunately, they both passed away at a young age. And when I was in secondary school, we found out that I had some form of autism. But after that, my school was not supporting me over there, and they didn't want their ratings to drop. So this is why they didn't let me do my GCSEs. They only let me do one GCSE in maths. That too because I was good at it, and it was a private school. So after that, over there, while I was in the school, after my sister passed away, I started to get double vision as well. And from there, after when I did my GCSE, I applied to a college called Queen Alexandra College, QAC for short. And that college is for people with the partial visual impairment and special needs, and other kinds of disability, but mainly for people with some who struggle to learn. So while I was waiting to enroll over there at QAC, I went and did a course in bakery and confectionery instead of wasting a year waiting. It made more sense. So I had gone there and I did a course. Then I finally got a place at QAC, and it was a very supportive college and very friendly. And there I studied, I got a BTEC first diploma and a BTEC national diploma in art and design, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Then over there, I managed to get a place in Birmingham City University to study animation. And it just happened to be that year they were introducing the course first time. So everything kind of worked out in a way to its, for me, for the better. So even though sometimes I would think, why am I going later to university and all my cousins are going earlier? It all made sense later. Yeah. So I went to Birmingham City University, and that had its own set of challenges there as well, because my tutor over there, even he thought that I couldn't get far and finish the degree. But with my hard work, I managed to finish the degree, alhamdulillah. Although it was so hard, I just managed to keep going and my parents' support played a big part there as well. So after that, even though this was never planned, I decided to go and do a second degree. So then from there, I went to Wolverhampton University, where I studied video and film production. That in the final year there, I did prophet stories. It was only 2 at the beginning. I did it for Ahlul Bayt TV, but they wanted a series, so I created a whole series of prophet stories. And they liked it so much that they asked me to do more animation for them. So the second time, I did 15 moral stories for them. After that, in 2016, unfortunately, my grandmother passed away, and this really affected me a lot because she was a big part of my life and very close to me. So I took a long break from my work. And then in 2018, one of my family members set me up for a meeting with Sheikh Nur Muhammad, and he suggested that I start doing some work with him. And since then, we have been collaborating on quite a few things like animation and at the moment, podcasts. I'm editing of his Countdown to Ramadan podcast and quite a few things. And then what happened, and towards the end of 2019, I joined the social media team and the AV team, and I was actually the first lady to join the team there. So that was an achievement in itself.
Yes, I mean, most definitely.
Yeah. So yes.
I mean, I didn't want to interrupt you because, you know, your story so far is so powerful. And, you know, I think that people who are listening to you just about the different trials you've had along the way. But one thing that I'm hearing is just how resilient you've been and how you've bounced back. God says in the Quran, "Makaru wa makarullah wallahu khairul makirin," that like we plan and God plans, but God is the best of planners. And as I listen to your story, you know, we're of course all here on Zoom because we cannot meet in person, and it's been a very difficult year for all of us. And I just think that, you know, this is an incredible story you're sharing because, you know, you've talked about some of the trials, but you've talked about how you've pushed through. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that before you went on.
Yeah. So then in late 2019, I joined the team, as I said. And then in the beginning of 2020, we all know what happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when the pandemic began, we had to close the mosque, and mosque is another thing that's been a big part of me throughout my whole life. Like every week I would go. So this was a big change. Like everyone was affected by the changes in some way, but with my condition, it makes it more difficult for me to adjust to changes, and especially if it's sudden changes. So me being in the team, it helped me transition from going to the mosque physically to listening online because I was a member. I was able to help out, and I was like the only female allowed to go in now when nobody else was allowed. Only the AV team members, obviously. Yeah, the few of them, very limited. Yeah, so and then 2020, to keep myself busy, I did an animation course to refine my skills because it's very important to keep up to date, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things highlighted to me during that was how important it was to have your own logo when you're doing your work. And this is something that I had thought of before, but I never took action on it. until this course. So I was doing the logo, and it was much harder than I thought, because I've done logos for other people, including our own Jamaat. But because I was doing it first time for myself, it was much harder. You want it to be perfect. All right, there's no such thing as perfection, but still. So I was working on that, and when I was doing that on the third attempt, I wanted to start all over again. But my friend Natasha, she stopped me, and she said, no, I'm not going to allow you to change it anymore. This is good enough. If you want to change anything, you're only changing the color. Because otherwise I was going on and I kept wanting to change it because I never was satisfied. But then eventually I listened to her. So then by the end of 2020, I had my own logo, and I had also created a new YouTube channel on top of my main one that I already have. And the new YouTube channel is Smiley Cinemation, and my main one is Smiley Fatima. So yeah, that was 2020, the main achievement. Yeah.
I mean, again, absolutely incredible. And I'm just looking at the chat here, and you have lots of messages just from, from different people in the community and different supporters. And I think, one thing that everyone can relate to, Fatima, is this being such a different year. I think for our community, going to mosque is, yes, of course, it's about going to pray and going to recite your du'as and going to madrasa, but it's also about socializing with people you care about, with people you haven't seen in a long time. It's about, interacting, having kids play, adults and older adults get together. And so not being in a physical space for the second Ramadan in a row is very difficult. But inshallah, one thing that you're sharing that we can all take away today, inshallah, is that we are also going to get through this. And we have to be innovative in the way that we approach how we learn. And so you mentioned, the shift to online. You talked about podcasts, and also you shared your channel, which we'll share with everyone who's listening at the end, because Fatima not only has a YouTube channel, but we want you to follow her on Instagram and other social media. But before we get to that, there's something very special about today's session that we want to share with everyone, and that is the Ramadan journal. And we are here to talk about that Ramadan journal. But before we share it with the viewers, Fatima, can you tell us a little bit about it and what inspired you to create it?
Well, journaling has been part of my life for quite a long time, actually, because I used to write what I did when I went on holiday and ziyarat, and I have a journal of when I was a child, and I remember visiting the pilot, and I printed out the message from the pilot and stuck it in my journal of what he said. At that time, you could visit the pilot. So I've written down what I used to do, and it's good to think back, look back at my journals, what I used to write. I remember in one of the sentences I'd written, "Don't worry, you will see it all on the video." And today I'm doing video. So yeah, but in 2018, I decided to try and track my habits, because I've heard, we hear many times how tracking your habits helps you. So I decided to try and track my habits in my book, in my own journal, and it helped me more than I expected. Then one of my cousins suggested to me to make a yearly journal, and the idea of that, it was too much for me. So I thought, let me just experiment with the Ramadan journal at that time. And I had looked for Ramadan journals online, but I always felt there was something missing, so I never bought any of them. So I started working on the Ramadan journal and finished 8 pages. And then I just left it because I thought it wasn't good enough. So I put it at the I left it to the side. It was just one of the side projects I was working on, because it's good to have a side project sometime as well. So then after that, when in 2020, at the end of 2020, when things were improving a bit, I went to Dar es Salaam to visit my grandmother, and over there, it was there where I had a dream, and that dream that was reminding me how important it was to finish incomplete projects. So I made a list of them that I had to finish, and at that time, one of them was this Ramadan journal, and my friend and me, we both agreed it just seemed that the Ramadan journal would be the most easiest out of them all at that time to finish. So I started working on that. So we decided that when I returned from Dar es Salaam, I would start working on that.
That's incredible. Do you have the Ramadan journal with you to show everyone?
Yes, it's here.
That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we're going to talk about it in just a second, but everyone listening, whether you're tuning in from the UK or you're tuning in from Toronto or in the US, all of you have a chance, an opportunity to purchase the Ramadan journal. And you mentioned when you were in Dar es Salaam, you had a dream to finish to complete projects that were not finished. I think I need to adopt that from you because I have a ton of projects that are not finished. So thank you for that. But that perseverance, that idea that we shouldn't procrastinate and keep going, that's really something that I think all of us can relate to. Now, with regards to the Ramadan journal, not only did you make a Ramadan journal, but you've published this Ramadan journal. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced and how you overcame those challenges?
Yeah, actually, at the end of 2020, on the day I was supposed to come back, I tested positive for COVID-19. Oh. So I had to stay over there and isolate myself, as you know. So that over there, I had no computer of my own, no software of my own. I didn't even take my iPad there. Yeah, so then I got my dad to send me the files from my computer over here, and then I started doing my research. And with the help of my friend Natasha, she just kept me going whenever I wanted to stop. She said to me, continue. And then those bits which I struggled with, like, for example, some of the Allah's names, we would discuss it together. And then we did, then that would make it easier for me. And I also remember I wanted to start all over again, but she stopped me from doing that. So then my parents have been a huge support for me throughout this, and without them, this journal would not have been possible as well. And then also, as I said, I had many doubts. I wanted to give up a lot, but my friend Natasha, she would give me deadlines, and I finished it bit by bit. And then also we had challenges of the editing, like there were mistakes in the duas, and the text, and every time I thought it was done, I would have to do it again, something or other. How many times I had to export it, I will never forget. And I was like thinking, this is never gonna end. And to help me get through, I also used to play on YouTube affirmations in the background to help me stay with a positive mindset. So that also helped me. And in the middle, I remember whenever I wanted to give up, my friend would tell me, Fatima, look at the affirmation on day 24. And I'm just going to read it out to you. It says, I see failure as a golden opportunity to learn. So she kept reminding me of that. So alhamdulillah, there was a lot of challenges, but I kept going. And also the other thing what made it difficult was when I asked the few people close to me for their feedback, they used to give me different responses. And then I started thinking, it's not good enough. No one's going to use it. But still, then what I did is, instead of listening to them, I had to change my way of thinking. And I decided to think like, okay, I'm going to make this journal the way I would want it to be. And that made it less hard for me because I wasn't thinking about what they thought, thinking more how I want it to be. And yeah, so that helped as well.
That's really incredible. And, as you talk about your friend Natasha, I was just thinking, we all could use a Natasha in our lives, somebody to push us, somebody to encourage us to keep going. In whatever it is that we're doing. We've talked a little bit about the current situation and just, feeling sometimes, just a little bit down, and having somebody, to say, no, we can keep doing it. We have to keep going. And this is one of the beauties about being part of such an awesome community, like such a wonderful community, is that whether in person or online, we have the ability to encourage one another, and we have the ability to support one another in our projects. And Fatima, I can promise you, I've seen the journal. I can promise you that, inshallah, it will benefit so many people, but also that we are all your supporters as well. So please include us as people who are supporting you in your journey, because it's absolutely incredible. And somebody mentioned in the chat about just having a positive mindset and those positive affirmations. And I thank you for sharing that one, because it's really something that can help us be positive and be mindful in the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
So before we tell everyone how to get their hands on one of these journals, I have just one more question for you, because you're involved in so many different things, and I'm wondering, do you have any future projects in mind now that the Ramadan journal is published and printed and distributed? Do you have anything coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, I have some animation and some videos coming up. My channel, Smiley Fatima, is the main one where I publish my animations, and my new one, Smiley Cinemation, is still in the early stages. But in that one, I want to share the behind the scenes of how I do my work, because a lot of people, they only see the project done and they don't see the hard work that goes into it. So through that channel, one of the things I want to show is more about myself and show viewers what goes behind the scenes a bit. I have one video on meditation that I've finished, which inshallah I will also be releasing. It's in 2 parts, so that is another thing. And yeah, and right now there is posters I'm going to be doing as well for my Instagram. I like to do posters as well whenever there's a kushali or a wafat. I often send out posters to people created by me. Yes. So,
Sorry, go ahead. Please finish.
yeah, the posters and animations, more are coming up. Yeah, inshallah. I've had quite a few people already ask me about Muharram journal when Ramadan has not even started. My answer to you all is, for the moment, it's shelved, but Allah knows best when it's going to happen. It will happen at the right time, inshallah.
That's wonderful. I mean, I can't wait, but we're not gonna go there just yet, right? You're right. Ramadan is around the corner, so inshallah we will, all be able to get our hands on this Ramadan journal. Now, before we tell people how to get a copy, Fatima, I know you have the journal in front of you. Is there a favorite part you have or a part that you would like to share with everyone today?
Um, mm, well, I like all the colorful pages. Yeah. Actually, yeah, the habit trackers. I like these. I like the habit tracker because even though I will use this, I'm so used to using my own journal over here, where so I will be using that as well. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, what does a habit tracker do?
It tracks your habits. I will just show you some from this journal. You can see here. My success is only by Allah. I've written there. I don't know if you can see it. Then I have, if you are grateful, I will give you more. And because you can see, I didn't write it there because I thought I would come back on the 31st. So I was in Dar es Salaam and my journal was here. That's why it wasn't written. So yeah, I have a journal like that. I'm so used to this. I will be using this and the Ramadan journal.
That's
I create creative ones like this. I tracked each, and this has been since 2018. Hmm.
that's incredible. And so even just with that saying, if you're grateful, I'll give you more. And Ramadan is a time for us to give to one another, and Ramadan is a time for us to ensure that nobody's alone and nobody's excluded. And just even having those sayings as reminders for ourselves is so important. So now let's talk about how to get this journal, because I know people who are listening in are probably very eager about that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, or actually I'll ask Sister Shakila Walji if you could, in the chat box for everyone, just type in where to get it in Toronto, because we do have folks who are in Toronto, in the GTA, who are in the UK, and who are in the USA, who can all access this journal, inshallah. And we hope and we pray that you get so much benefit out of it. Habit tracking and mindfulness and positive affirmations, all together, and then combine that with Ramadan. Inshallah, we'll all be in a very, very good position to welcome Ramadan. So, you can get these journals. The book is $15 in Canada, and it can be shipped anywhere in Canada for an extra $5 per book, and to the US for $12. And by purchasing, one thing I wanted to share, Fatima, that I don't know if everybody here knows about this, but in addition to writing this journal, you are supporting so many different causes with this journal. And, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but for me, this is really personal, because I got a call from Sister Tahira and Sister Shakila that said, there's this wonderful young woman named Fatima Koja, and she's done this journal, and she's selling it. And in Toronto, the proceeds are going to go to the Masamin Islamic Center and to Smile Canada Support Services to support these projects. So not only have you embarked on this incredible feat by creating this journal, every copy of this journal is benefiting our community directly. So I really want people to know that, because, like, all I can say is, may Allah bless you, Fatima. May Allah increase your reward and your knowledge and your skill. You are so incredibly talented. And, we are so excited to learn from you, but also to support you in your journey along the way. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm just reading all these messages of congratulations to you, and so many people are saying congratulations, and they're saying that they're truly inspired by your work. So for those of you who've missed it, so in Toronto, we have a URL that's posted in the chat, and I'm going to just read it out. You can purchase it at masamin.org/Ramadhan journal. And we'll also put into the chat if you're calling in from the UK or the US. And again, by purchasing a journal, not only inshallah will you be benefiting, keep the journal, make it personal, but also you're benefiting the Masamin Islamic Center, and you're also benefiting Smile Canada Support Services. So your purchase will be making a direct impact, inshallah. Okay, so we have a few specific questions, and the specific questions we'll address, inshallah, about how to pick up, and we'll send you some emails, inshallah. To follow Fatima on social media, and for all of you who are on social media, I really encourage you to follow Fatima. Her Instagram handle is Smiley Fatima Media, and that's Fatima with an H at the end. So please do so. And I've put in your YouTube channel. Please subscribe wherever you are around the world, and check out Fatima's work. And you can check out the work to come. And for the USA, for anyone purchasing from the USA, we've put in the link in the chat box as well. So it's almost 1:45. I'm going to open it up to any questions. If anybody has any questions for Fatima or about the journal, please type it into the chat, and we'll inshallah answer your questions. And Fatima, is there anything while we're waiting for that you wanted to to leave off to tell the people who are chiming in today?
Yeah, I think I would tell from my own experiences and from the stories of so many other people, we are much more capable than we think. The mind, you just got to convince the mind. I'm struggling. I think I'm trying to tell myself this at the same time while I'm telling you. Yeah. So we have to try and reprogram the mind. And affirmations are the perfect way of doing that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an incredible, takeaway or a final message that, we sometimes sell ourselves short. We sometimes are the ones to tell ourselves that we can't do it. But when in reality, we are all very, very capable of doing what we put our minds to. And, Fatima, you mentioned earlier on your supportive family, your supportive parents, as well as your supportive friends. And I think, I mentioned this earlier on, but I also would like to say again that, this is something really, really powerful about the communities that we're from. Especially, I'm going to talk about the sisterhood in these communities. And with that, I think it's an opportunity for us to encourage one another in whatever work that we're doing, because we need to be each other's support. We need to encourage one another to keep going and to do well. So somebody is asking if you don't mind showing a few more pages of the book, because they would like to see.
So here, you can write down each day what you do, or again, like I said, I made it how I am used to it. So, and I'm used to writing a few lines each day about what I did just to sum up the day. Right? And then each day has an affirmation and a dua of the day, and letting you write down a few things that you're grateful for, as well as the checklist. And then and then it has the recommend. I've simplified it for everyone's, just a few recommended acts for the night of Qadr. And then at the end, for those of you who want to, there are some extra habit trackers if you want to keep up with it. So yeah, and then
Well,
Yeah, just a bit of
takes-
reflection, just a reflection page where you write how you think the month went.
that's amazing.
Fatima, can I have you share the way to get the book in the Ramadan Journal in UK, please? Because I don't have the information on my phone.
Yeah, it's through the Lady Sumaya website. We'll type it in, and there's what's available. The WhatsApp number that's just been posted there.
Please share it. Thank you. Sorry, Sakina.
No, this is really important because, people are asking how can we access it in East Africa and in the UK. So this is very, very exciting. They say that it takes 30 days to develop a good habit and to get rid of a bad habit. And, it just so happens that's, about a month long, that's Ramadan, right? So I think, that habit tracker is very, very important. If there are some habits we want to kick, or if there's some habits we want to, to maintain or to develop, this is a great way to do that. And, we oftentimes, we thank God and we say, in our du'as, like we give thanks. But sometimes we're not very reflective on what we are thanking Allah for. And so writing it down is so important, and thinking about what we have to be thankful for, especially in such a difficult time that everybody's going through. Just being able to identify, well, we're thankful for our health, and we're thankful for our friends, we're thankful for our community, we're thankful for the air we breathe. Like, there's so many different things we can be thankful for. So I'm very excited to get my copy. I have to go pick it up, but inshallah, you will all benefit from this. Does anyone have any other questions before we close for today?
Sakina, anybody can unmute themselves and ask if they want.
Sure, of course. So if you feel more comfortable unmuting, or if you feel more comfortable typing it in. A few people have asked me about the recording. Sister Tara, did you want to address, or if the recording will be available?
Sakina?
Yes, the recording will be available. You can reach Tahira or myself, and we'll make it available to you.
Okay, sounds good. And I think a few people are asking for those links. What happens in the chat, because people are typing in, I think the links are getting lost. So what we'll do is we will just post them again, and as well, you can always contact, if you're in Toronto, you can contact Sister Shakila Walji at Masumin Islamic Center for any information, as well as if you are coming in from the US. And there's a WhatsApp number as well for anyone who wants to purchase the journal anywhere around the world, and I've just put it into the chat once again. Okay, so if anyone has any further questions, Fatima, one thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have any, an email address or contact information you would like to share, or would you rather people be directed to your social media?
I have an email, fatimakoja@gmail.com. But yeah, I would like you to follow on social media so you get to see my work more. Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that that person handling my social media, because I only created the Instagram account recently so that I can have a personal one and work one separate, because otherwise it gets too much sometimes. So because one of my habits that I wanted to work on was not be addicted to the social media. Like every time when you're upset, I go on social media to look at it. Yeah. So what I did is I'm in touch with one of the girls who was with me in the special needs college, and she is handling it, and it's good that even though she is Christian, I'm teaching her stuff at the same time. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's, I mean, that's incredible. And you mentioned just like keeping yourself in check, and I think that's something we can also all really learn about, that, we we have to take everything like in strides, right? So while we might be on social media, and while we can definitely learn from one another, but also keeping ourselves in check and making sure we have time for ourselves, and our work. So once again, Fatima, I just want to personally thank you. Before I thank you on behalf of everybody else, I just want to personally thank you. This conversation has just been really really phenomenal, for me personally. Just learning about what you've done and the vision behind it, but also I'm very excited to see what you have in store in the future, and I'm very excited to get my copy of the Ramadan journal, and just be able to reflect on those positive affirmations, and write down what I'm grateful for, and also work on my own habits, because that's what Ramadan's all about. Somebody did have a question, before we close up, and that is about the illustrations. Did you do those illustrations on your own?
Yes, yeah, I did do them on my own. Yeah.
Wow. So definitely, adding adding to the list of things that are very neat about you. I want to thank you, for taking the time, and joining us today. And inshallah, if people have any further questions, I would encourage them to get in touch with you, so that maybe they can also learn from you. And like I mentioned, at the beginning, Fatima and her family have generously, provided these journals, to support their community, to support our communities, and also to support other organizations. So if you're interested in what's in the journal, we ask that you purchase a copy, inshallah. And one final question, and then I know, there's probably a lot of questions, pending, but we'll stop there. One final question is, how did you decide what duas to add into the journal?
This was something, one of the challenges. It required a lot of thinking, but then I just wanted to make it simple as possible for everyone. So I decided to go with the short duas. And I know we have long amals and everything, but I wanted to simplify it. We have technology, which if you want to go into it, we tell you, I'm sure you will all use it. But I just wanted to use the short, simple duas, so that it's not complicated for people. Yeah. And I deliberately, and as I mentioned in the book, I deliberately put the every night dua near the habit tracker, so that makes you go to your habit tracker. Yeah.
Oh, I mean that's great advice. That's great advice, because we want to make sure we're not, just doing the dua, sort of just, reciting the words. We want to make sure that it's, it's really meaningful to us. And if we are changing our habits, and we're trying to avoid any bad habits, and we're going towards good habits, then inshallah, we know that we're trying our best to make the prayers as meaningful as possible. Fatima, you have so many really, awesome, amazing, positive messages. So hopefully you can, you can read them at some point. Somebody is asking, what age group do you think the journal, would benefit, or for somebody of what age would this journal benefit?
And this is where the opinions of everyone's really confused me. And that's why I started to think do it for the way you want to. But overall, I don't think it's set to a certain age group like that. It's useful for many ages in some way or the other. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so I definitely would agree. And I would say for those of you who have small children, this is an opportunity for you to do it with them. So while they might not be able to write in, and while they might not be able to, read the entire text, it is an opportunity. It can be used as a tool for you to work with them. So for example, sitting down with them and talking about what are you grateful for, or talking about some positive habits, or talking about what you did that day. It helps us be mindful and it helps us be present. So inshallah, I think everybody can benefit, inshallah, from this journal and from this project. So, again, Fatima, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And this conversation couldn't have happened at a better time. Ramadan, inshallah, is right around the corner. And I hope, inshallah, we can all meet and greet Ramadan and, benefit from your journal and benefit, for the whole month, inshallah, and afterwards. So you're really somebody that I want to get to know more. So I'm definitely going to follow, your work, inshallah.
I would love to hear your success stories. Feel free to email me.
Yeah, yes, definitely. For those of you who are going to use the journal, if you find it's touched you and it's helped change some of your habits, please reach out and let Fatima know, because it's such a powerful tool, inshallah. So I'm going to invite young Sister Samana to join us in ending off in a dua. And before we do that, I'm just going to ask if everybody can recite Amma Yujibu 5 times. We want to pray for everybody who's struggling around the world, everybody who is, not well around the world. And we want to take an opportunity to collectively pray for them. So feel free to unmute yourselves. And as well, we're going to end in a Surah Fatiha. And then Sister Samana, if you could, join us and help close this event. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mutarra idha da'an wa yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mutarra idha da'an wa yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mutarra idha da'an wa yakshifu as-su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم All right. Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma kulli waliyaka hujjatul Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala ba'i fi hadhihi sa wa fi kulli sa waliyan wa hafidan wa qaida wa nasira wa dalilan wa aina hatta tuskinahu ardaka وتمتعوا فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you very much. So Jazakallah khairan, again, Fatima, for sharing with us. I think I can speak for everyone to say we've definitely benefited from this conversation. And I hope that you can all join me in purchasing a copy of the Ramadan journal. And I would love to hear how it goes for all of you. Sister Shakila, did you want to have any final comments?
I just wanted to say, if you needed to purchase the book or whatever, I've put my my WhatsApp information on the chat. Just WhatsApp me and I'll make sure that you guys do get, are able to get your hands on the book. It is wonderful. It is a beautiful book and it really gets you on track. And I think a lot of people will benefit from it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Kudafis, everyone. Take care. Be safe. And, hope you all have a blessed Ramadan, inshallah.
شهر الرحمة والغفران بوركت يا رمضان يا رحمة الرحمن أنزلت بالقرآن وصعدت بالإيمان